review kind of some strategies and ideas that we wanted you working on in your classroom with our English language learners. Now, I understand that as a small campus, we have 7 ESL students right now, but we're a growing campus and that's going to continue to add to our population, and at any given time, you're going to get an ESL student in your class. And so it's really important that when we talk about these things that you don't just kind of zone out, because it could be tomorrow that you get a student straight from Mexico that has no English. And what we know about ESL strategies is that it's good teaching. It's not just for an English language learner, it's good teaching in general. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this today. The district did something I thought was really powerful. When they presented it to us, they interviewed students, teachers, and parents about what it's like to be an English language learner, what happens in the classroom that's effective for them, what's not effective, same thing with teachers, and then parents. What is their viewpoint? And so it's important, what I kind of want you to think about is just really be honest with yourself. And we know that the #1 thing with student, what helps students the most is teacher reflection and reflecting on your practices, what you do in your classroom. A lot of times we do these things that we don't even know we're doing it. So when you see some of these strategies or you hear some of the things that the students or the teachers are talking about, what do you do really well in your classroom and that you need to be proud of yourself for? And what are some areas as a staff that we can grow in? Or what are some things that we want to learn more about to help us be more effective teachers? What we have, the district put together, some problem areas for our district, and then some strategies that are going to help us improve in those areas. So everything in red are things that you can do with students to improve those areas. So what I'm asking is that your team sometime between now and May, go through this list and look at, May 21st, sorry, May 21st. That's when we're going to meet again. Go through with your team, what do you notice at your grade level? Your students and in your grade level, what are some of their areas that they're really weak in? What are some areas that you can focus in to kind of help bridge that gap before we send them on to the next grade level? So be kind of thinking about that as we go. The first thing I want to show you, this is the video from the student's perspective. And I thought this was really, think about the kids in your class, kids that you've had in the past. Would they say these things about your teaching? Is this what you're doing in your classroom, or are there different things that you can improve on?
Good morning. How are you today?
You guys hear it?
Can you tell us your name?
Brian,
Your name is Brian, and what grade are you in, Brian?
3rd grade.
Okay, so Brian, we're here today to talk about some things that your teachers do in class that are really helpful to you. So, can you tell me, whenever you're trying to understand the instructions or the directions for an assignment, what are some things that your teacher does that helps you?
She gives us a rubric to help us understand what we need to do and how much stuff we need to put on our work.
Okay, and so how does that help you for the day? Whenever you take that rubric and you look at your task, how is that helpful?
It's helpful because it helps you to know what you need to do when you're working.
So can you tell me specifically what types of things does it tell you to do?
It tells you to do to put how much words you need to put on it to show what it's doing.
Okay, so how much work to show your thinking, is that what you mean? Okay. How did you know when you were finished and that you had met your goal of meets expectations?
Because when we're done, the teacher gives us grades, and if she says she has the words, if you have meets or exceeds, and it told me that I got a meets.
Okay, so before the teacher gives you a grade, are you able to look at your paper and guess if you had meets or something else? We did choose which one we wanted to get, and then the teacher graded us.
audience.
Okay, so why did you choose meets expectations instead of exceeds expectations?
Because sometimes I get below needs, so I wanted to go higher.
And I'm from Table Middle School. I'm an 8th grader here.
And Anne, how old were you when you moved to the United States?
I was about 8 to 9 years old in 4th grade.
And how much English did you already know when you got here?
I know like 9. Well, I know how to say I don't understand. That's one word.
One thing that you could tell your teachers this year that would really help you, what would you want them to know?
Because I take all pre-AP this year, and last year I was still on level ELA, and because I just jumped straight to pre-AP ELA, and I don't know what like the concept or like the steps all of your pre-AP people are going towards, and like vocabularies, I don't know how to turn it in or how to do it, like contacts or matching with this word with this word. I don't know, like it's just making me confusing. So I would like them to like add more details in like more instructions to explain it.
And modeling.
Okay, so you wish that they would provide you with more instructions for the activities that you're supposed to do? Okay, and Anne, you contact me a lot about help with your writing. What do you wish your teachers would do to help you with your writing in class?
Because my grammar is really bad, and I'm trying to like fix it. Yeah, it's like I want them to skim through my essay that I type. So, like, what did I miss, or like my examples are not enough, or like it doesn't make sense, like just delete that sentence the whole way, like that kind of thing.
So you're needing some more feedback on your writing?
Yes, like.
Okay, well Anne, thank you so very much for your helpful suggestions today.
Eugene,
And where do you go to school?
Wilson Middle School,
And what grade are you in, Eugene?
8th,
8th grade. Okay, how long have you been in the United States?
2.5 years,
And when you came, how much English did you already know?
0, no,
What language did you speak when you got here?
Russian,
Did any other kids in your school speak Russian?
no,
So what's a couple of things that your teachers have done that really were helpful for you in class?
they will give me a partner that will help me
Okay.
to do work.
And if you could tell your teachers one thing, what do you wish you could tell them?
Give me homework about what we work in class.
Extra practice?
Yes,
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
no,
Thank you for your time, Eugene.
thank you.
Okay, from the student's perspective, what was the most powerful thing that jumped out at you? What was something where you were just like, oh, okay.
Oh, I think the extra time, what he said, just extra time.
Right.
And they really seem to want that
Yes.
feedback.
That's
That
it.
that
Their
desire
passion.
to
Yeah.
really do better.
The
They
little
really
girl one is desperate, the 8th grade girl. Please teach me how to do grammar. Yeah.
Right. The thing that I thought about is the instructions. I know when I teach or when I'm with my kids, I just assume so often that they know. Oh yeah, you remember, you know, that I go through it so fast that I need to remind myself, okay, what if they don't know? Or what if they're having a bad day? Or what if they're just like, we want to teach them exactly what we want them to know without guessing, without worrying about it, lowering that level of anxiety for them. And so being really aware of that in our teaching. Some strategies, okay, and I'm going to send this PowerPoint to you guys to refer to because you actually have a little assignment when we leave. But some strategies to help, sentence frames, okay, how many of you use those in your classroom? I know in the younger grades I see that a lot. How do you want them to set up that answer? That's perfect instruction. That's the only way they're going to know is that they get those examples of how you want them to set that up. Giving them a list of transition words and phrases, and then there's some different activities. And then there's 2 websites that you'll see. Anytime you want examples, go to this. The books, we put a bunch of books in the library, different ELL strategies that you can check out through Savage. So be thinking about that too. Here's some examples of sentence tense, and they broke it up if you agree or disagree, how to compare, how to sequence, how to summarize. How many of you have this in any of your journals or your folders? Like your reading folders or your science journals? Okay, so that would be an awesome thing to share next time we meet again, just how you use that in your class and what it looks like for you and what's been successful.
Did the students glue it in? Well, I mean, it's a sheet, they didn't write it.
No.
Okay.
Perfect. Here's some examples of sentence frames. Providing sentence frames, it helps them with their language skills. They're not going to know unless we show them how to do that. Like, for example, what we notice. After looking at this Alan Say book, I noticed that. The graphic organizers with the transitional words. I see that a lot in the language arts. But what about math and like when they're writing their responses, or in science in their science journals? That would be a great place to put those transitional phrases in. We always talk about we want them to expand their thinking. Well, we need to show them how we want them to expand their thinking. And then supporting the language, the rubrics, the goal setting. This campus does amazing things with goal setting. And so I really think that's one of our strengths. But I know some grade levels do a really good job of collaborating, you know, like 4th and 5th. I really want our goal to be for the end of this year and next year is all of us working together with content areas. You know, starting from K1 and 2, then 3, 4, and 5. Okay, if we get them started like with how to work on a passage in 3rd grade, we want to continue to teach them the same strategies all the way up. Like, we don't want 3rd grade to teach them one way to tackle a passage, 4th grade teaches them a different way, and then they're doing something totally different in 5th. If we can kind of get together and collaborate what's the best way that we want them to learn, and then we carry that all the way through, instead of starting over again each year. Example goal setting, which we have the rubrics. I know we all use rubrics. Some of us are really a lot better at creating them than others. If you feel that that's an area that you really need to work in, get with someone else. The best way we learn is with and through each other. We have great support on campus to help with this. This was a great idea for you classes that have ELL students, is changing the rubric specifically for the English language student. It's okay if 1 or 2 students has a different looking rubric than everyone else, because our job as teachers is to meet the students where they are. And not all of our students are going to be able to utilize the same rubric in the most effective way for them. So really kind of keeping that in mind, how we can do that. And sharing those. If Holland creates one in 1st grade, 2nd grade can adapt that for next year with just the higher level thinking. That's an easy way to help each other. Another strategy that they talked about, if you don't want to recreate the rubric, is just highlighting those keywords for your English language learners or for any of your struggling students. Highlighting the keywords you want them to pick out. Instead of giving every student this exact one, we would go through and kind of pick out what words do we want them to focus on in that rubric, just to help them with that. The Frere model with vocabulary, there's lots of different ways to use that. Writing windows, I have 2 different kind of strategies that you can take a look at, and it kind of explains it. I was talking with O and Debbie about kind of how we can utilize this and how it can help us the most. And so what we want you to think about is between now and May 21st is when we're going to meet again. I want each grade level to get together and pick one strategy or one focus area that you know your kids need to work on. And then you're going to teach a lesson using that strategy or focus. And then when we come back on the 21st, each grade level is going to present what they did. What was your lesson? How did that strategy help you? And then what happened because of that lesson? If you need any support in this, I will help you. I'll model, demonstrate, help you come up with an idea. We can investigate different strategies to use. O can help you. Anybody that we want to work together on this to carry this through. So as our population continues to grow, we have these foundations to help them. Okay, teachers. When you're watching this video, I want you to see, would you have these same responses?
Sari is wonderful. Washing clothes. Floor. I understood this one. And eats all the chocolate. So let's talk about how I want you to write your summary for me today. I'm gonna have you look at me, or BME, right? We're gonna do this. In the beginning, I'm gonna write that frame for you, and then we're gonna make a word box. In the beginning. Middle. In the end. Look at me. Help me. In the beginning. In the middle. In the end. And I'm going to write some words in a word box for you. Okay?
How many of you have done this word box?
You may need to do a good job on this. And then I'm going to have you write your summary. Alright? I think you may have to use, and I'm going to look at the book, because that's what good readers do, right? And you're going to have to say Saturday. Can you use the book to get words if you need it? Good. Saturday. Wash. Car. You said planting in the garden, right? And in garden. Wash. I don't need to put that twice, do I? That is heavy. Clothes. Ready? Saturday. Washed. Car. Planting. Garden. Mop. Floor. Clean. Garage. Cook. Clothes. Okay? Do you need a picture with any of these words? No? You think you've got them? Can you ask me if you don't? If you go back to your seat and you're not sure what one of them are, can you ask me what the word is? Absolutely. You're set.
Then it would make it all alternative. Sulfur needs 8. So does oxygen. But if you
So where would you get the other two tellers from them?
because if you do the 2O and you connect those two, then you have one with oxygen, so that makes 2, 4, 6, 8, and this one would have 2, 4, 6, 8, and this one would have 2, 4, 6, 8.
Let's clarify the bigger number or the smaller number. What do you guys notice? Okay? Instead of just saying a bigger number and a smaller number, take 15 seconds, talk to people around you, let's clarify the bigger numbers at struggle time or solo time, then I allow them to work in groups. And at that point they can ask each other questions. Hopefully now 1, 2, 3, or 4 brains are better than one, and therefore they're able to go deeper into the material and start to figure things out together, working collaboratively. Let's try to narrow that down. How to make more sense. Them experiencing the struggle time, working together, and then closing it. One, it's more meaningful to them, and also the idea that they will take more responsibility for their learning and have a better understanding of the material, and it's not just something that they hold on to for 2 or 3 days. It's something they can actually hold on to for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road.
The one thing that really jumped out to me were those word boxes, and I thought that was a really useful strategy, especially when you're looking for reader's response. I think that would help in giving the students the words that you want them to use in there. And then the more you start that for them, then they're going to get to be able to, it'll become innate in them to pick out those important words, those key words that are going to create an effective retell, an effective summary, an effective response to something that they're reading. Different accommodations, the thinking maps, the chunking writing task. I hear you guys talk about that a lot, chunking the writing task. And then giving them that, front-loading the vocabulary. I've talked with a couple teachers about that. I know when we talk about RTI, going over that vocabulary with those students, the struggling students or the ELL students, before you do it with the rest of the class, just to give them a little bit of a push. Visual representations. We have amazing anchor charts in every classroom. It's not a verbal and visual word association, especially with our English language learners, is they're learning the language, giving them a picture to associate that. I do that, I need that all the time when I need to remember something. I mean, how many times do you take a picture of something or you write something down? That's just a good strategy for anybody. Four-corner literature review is in the handout that I gave you. And then actually, if you go on the Smithsonian website, there is already leveled texts to help different levels. So say you're working, you do this a lot with the DBQs. You're working on the revolution. You can go to get the same information but in a variety of articles, and it's already leveled for you. So I know, Kurt, we had a lot of conversations about the kids, you're learning about a topic, but you have such a very wide range of readers. That's a resource that you can go to get some extra texts for their level. And the kids aren't going to know any differently. It's just a different way to get that information. Another place you can go is Teen Tribune, TEENTRIBUNE.com. And they have a variety of level texts. And I'll email that to you when I email you this presentation. This was just an example of that word bank activity. Graphic organizers. Intentional questioning. I know you guys put that into your lesson plans, and I just think it's so valuable to know ahead of time what you're going to ask them, but also what are you going to do with different responses? What do you expect them to respond to, and then how are you going to stretch their thinking even more? Annotating. I see this a lot. The way that we talked about how we could use this, you start out annotating the questions for them, especially in science. This would be really useful. What pictures can you, like a burning candle? Okay, well, let's draw a picture of a burning candle for them to tell them, okay, it's hot, it gives light. Produce. Well, what does produce mean? Okay, it means make. Breaking down the question. If you do this in the beginning for them, then you start to release some of that to them, and then they'll start to do it on their own. And then the last video is the parent voices. And the #1 feedback that the district's getting from parents, not only of ELL students, but of all of our students, is communication. The parents want to know what's going on. They want to know what's going on in the classroom, and they want to know how they can be a part of our school and what they can do to help. And so the more communication that you can give, the more they're going to feel a part of things, and the more they're going to want to participate and be on your side with helping their student.
Hi, my name is Jamila. I have two kids in Northwest High School district, and we've been in this district for the last 5 years already. And I really enjoy the communication between the teachers with the parents. Whenever we receive emails very frequently, telling me, updating how they're doing, if they're struggling in class, or if they're turning on homework, if they're missing homework. So that's very important for me. And also the emails that I receive every morning for the grades, how they're doing, the grades, and the communication between teachers. also, I have a great experience getting in communication with the teachers. So whenever I send an email, they respond. I get a response back like, what's going on? What can we do as a team? And I always get together with the teachers, and talk about make a plan to make them going forward with a good grades. And for the last 5 years, I've been in love with my district. I can tell you that. And she's on trail and Nance was the elementary school, and now in the high school, in the Northwest High School. And so far, I really enjoy that. So for me, the teachers, what I need from the teacher, or I think more to the parents, is a good communication between teachers and with parents, to work as a team to make our kids.
Can you tell us about some ways or things that our school has done for your family to help you feel comfortable and included since you've been here?
Well, I'm very pleased and very happy because recently we have a family situation, and I told them, about what's going on, and then I came, they told me to come here to school, and then I found one of the teachers. She was like very nice to me, and she talked to me, and she asked me